Hello everyone. Boy, it sure has been a while, huh? Let's just forget 2020 happened and move on. It's 2021. New beginnings all around. What better way to start the new year than to talk about video games that haven't even left the teaser trailer phase of its life cycle? Nintendo's got quite a few of them on their shoulders currently. Metroid Prime 4, Breath of the Wild 2, and Bayonetta 3. But I'm going to talk about a different game today. One that was announced during E3 of 2018. Bethesda's very own Elder Scrolls VI. Contrary to the channel, I have played a lot more than just Nintendo games. I did mainly grow up on Nintendo consoles, but my brother always had a Xbox 360. I remember a time when he brought over a game called Oblivion. I had no idea what the game was like. I know that the zombies scared the shit out of me as a kid, though. Always was scared of the dark playing that game. Eventually I came to love the game, though. And then Skyrim came along, and well, we all know how our experience with that game came to be. There's a reason why it's taken them a literal decade to make a new Elder Scrolls game that isn't an MMO. Anyways, this video is going to be about what I want from a new Elder Scrolls game. Just some suggestions I hope the dev team will consider. Wink wink, nudge nudge. Alright, you knew this was coming. Anybody that played Skyrim knew this was coming. How many times has anyone tried to scale a mountain in Skyrim? It's not fun. I'm hoping that with the new engine, they can make climbing mountains and walls much better. But what I'm really hoping for is for them to just add a climbing mechanic to the game, like in Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild used up your stamina to climb up large mountains and walls, and it was a relatively good mechanic. Elder Scrolls games typically have stamina be used up by activating power attacks and running, just like in Breath of the Wild as well. So why not add a climbing mechanic to the game? I wouldn't have to be breaking away from the game's world thinking about where I can find a horse to climb a mountain, because yes, that apparently makes you climb up mountains faster, thanks to jank. Overall, I would like a new way to explore the world they created. I feel a climbing mechanic is just one of those things that feels necessary and simple enough to exist in the game and should exist already. This one's a bit more on the personal side, but I feel a lot of people share this thought with me. Factions in Elder Scrolls are some of the most fun things to explore and be a part of in the game. What's not fun is how short those stories are, and how limited they are in terms of your options. The companions had an interesting setup for a story, but fell short on, well, how short the entire questline was. I felt like I could complete it in about 4 hours, and maybe even less than that. But on top of that, factions like the College of Winterhold and the Dark Brotherhood, while having a copious amounts of quests, felt short in the aspect of just how fast you became the head honcho of the place. For the College of Winterhold, there are some people who talk about how they've been practicing magic for years, and somehow you waltz in, spend a week there, and you're now the archmage of the entire college. I get that it might be asking a bit much with this one, but I just hope they give us a more fulfilling story for the factions in this game. Oblivion had very interesting Dark Brotherhood quests and Mages Guild quests, some of which involved using more than just go here and kill someone or collect an item at the end of the dungeon. What I hope they do is have alternate timelines you can do for each faction. You can already betray the Dark Brotherhood and wipe out the entire faction, as the same for the Thieves Guild. Give us the option to become an evil wizard, or maybe become part of a bandit group instead of joining the Fighters or Mages Guild. Just some food for thought on what I feel could add more replayability to the game. If there's one thing people complain about the Elder Scrolls series, it's the level scaling that's been so prominent in Oblivion and Skyrim. The higher your level got in the game, the stronger enemies you'd find in dungeons, and the overworld as well. In Oblivion's case, the easiest method to fix this is to not level up as much, considering all you need to do is sleep in order to level up. So what do? Not sleep. However, Skyrim's case is a bit different. Leveling up is a requirement to get the perks for specific stats you have leveled up. Both games also have a problem where it's easy to level your character up. While it's not so bad in Skyrim, Oblivion had you gaining levels just by walking and jumping. Any player could easily level these stats up without realizing they're increasing the difficulty of their game as well. So what do we do to fix this issue? I'd say the simplest thing to do is add a recommended level system to each dungeon/quest. When players walk up to a door or cave entrance, a recommended level pops up, near the name of the cave. This could offer experienced players a way to get higher level rewards while giving new players the warning of what's to come. They could even add a star rank system for quests, which offer much higher rewards depending on how difficult they are. No, I'm not saying we need the option to marry children, you sick fuck. In Skyrim, they added the option of being able to marry someone. While the list is expansive, most of the options are Nords and Imperials, and not a single option for Khajiit, or for a male Redguard or High Elf. Go ahead and laugh at the calling me a furry joke, but I just think it would be cool if we had better options for marrying the other races in the game. Personally, I would love to be able to marry any of the story important characters, so long as they do not take away from the stories they participate itself from. Give the furries and scalies what they want. On top of that, please give us more children variety. I'm sick of seeing the same damn male Nord kid in every city I walk into. Just look at this ugly little shithead. I'm genuinely curious to see what a child Argonian looks like, though. Ever explore an Elder Scrolls game? Find a dungeon that's super long and filled to the brim with traps and tough level enemies, and then you make your way to the end, find the loot, and all you get out of it is an enchanted ring with minor stats on it. That's what Daedric artifacts feel like to me. Not all artifacts are like that per se. Some of them are pretty neat. For instance, Peryite's artifact, Spellbreaker, is a unique shield that protects against magic spells. To my knowledge, I have not seen this enchantment on anything else. However, there are some, like the Mace of Molag Bol, that just... It's not really a small enchantment, but it's just... It's a standard enchantment. Maybe I'm just biased against Molag Bal, but I just want less standardization and more unique stuff, like Wabbajack or Azura's Star. If it's gonna have a standard enchantment, why not go through the process of giving it something that's impossible to enchant on? Maybe I just hope they change the whole enchantment process works entirely in the game, or at least make the Daedric artifacts more special. I don't know. For Skyrim specifically, they added quite a bit of new traps and puzzles to solve. But none of the puzzles ever felt unique in the game to me. It's one thing to reuse assets to save time, it's another thing to reuse it entirely. How many times in Skyrim have you got that same damn claw puzzle to solve in the game? Sure, the claws are all different, but the puzzle itself isn't fun to solve. Once you solve one of them, you practically solve the rest of them. And even then, they have these turning pillar puzzles they spam in a lot of the dungeons as well in the game. These ones do make you think a little bit more, but it's still not fun. Especially when you could guess on half of these and solve them easily. Traps, on the other hand, I can forgive at least. Traps are designed to be reusable. It's only fair to see a tripwire trap or a poison dart trap be reused. All I hope for is that they specifically add more variety to it in terms of traps. I want to see some more magical traps, or traps that actually feel threatening for once. If the next Elder Scrolls game is going to play similar to Skyrim, then I hope they can fix the spell issues I personally have with the game. While spellcasting can be fun, and there's quite a few spells you can learn in the game, they just don't have the same charm as when you make your own spell in Morrowind or Oblivion. The best thing would be to bring spell creation back, however I feel they aren't going to do that. And don't even get me started on master level spells. They take way too long to cast, and they're completely useless. What can we do to fix this? Well, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know personally. I'm not a game designer. However, maybe they should bring back some like classic spells like levitation or something. They don't have to make it OP or anything, just give us some cool shit to play with if we get our magic level high enough. I at the very least want better master class spells in the game. Just anything that makes it feel worth it. You see this? This is stupid. Of all the things you can get out of playing a race, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day because the powers are just plain shitty, to be honest, in my opinion. You can only use them once a day, have some sort of small effect that doesn't even matter really, and just in general become useless. At least Khajiit get to use their power anytime. It just allows them to see in the dark, but it's not much, but it's still cool enough to work. Honestly, I always thought powers should be a standard thing among every enemy you fight in the game as well. It's always stupid to just see a giant lizard man walking around and they just fight with a sword, and that's it. Can't they have some sort of poison breath power? Maybe give the orcs like a super powerful attack they can charge up that does super damage if it hits? Dark elves seem to always get this ability to summon a ghost. Why not have them use ghostly powers or something? Just anything that makes it more worthwhile to try out other races in the game. Personally, I see no purpose in trying for any character when I pick the same 3 races I like to use when I pick a class. High Elf for Mage, Argonian for Thief, and Nord for Warrior. Yeah, maybe I'll pick Khajiit for Thief sometimes too, but it's just not good design when I can say something like, oh, I see no purpose in picking an Imperial or Wood Elf for my race, because they just don't have anything interesting for them. Honestly, you can really just pull off any race with any class. It doesn't matter, really. While I think it's neat in some areas, I feel that adding more complexity to the powers that they can utilize will change up how you fight regular bandits and other such human enemies. If the enemies can use powers as well, you start to think more about what race each enemy you're fighting. That, I feel, can offer tons of replayability as well, allowing players to experiment with each race's powers. Better yet, why not add a whole skill tree for the power for each race as well? Maybe make it simple, but add something to collect that allows you to power them up. I think it'd be fun. And while we're on the topic of races, why not add a new race to play as well? It could be tons of fun for old fans to be able to play as an entirely new race. I suggested maybe they could use the Snow Elves from Skyrim as a way to add them into the lore of the series. Maybe even the Dwarves as well, though lore-wise they'd have to come up with some crazy bullshit to bring them back somehow, but hey, if we can get a race of tiny elves that can wield cyberpunk-looking gear, I wouldn't complain. So, what are your thoughts on Elder Scrolls 6? Is there anything you want to see change or add with the series? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Wait a minute, smash?